Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, January the 4th. We got a 9-game Monday slate, pretty interesting slate with a lot of injury news that we're waiting on as of Sunday night. This is going to be one of those slates where, it's kind of hard to make lineups right now because we don't really have, the injury news that we need. Right now, James Harden is questionable. Luka Doncic is also questionable. Luka sat out on Sunday, and the Mavs are on a back-to-back, so we don't know his status yet for Monday's game. The slate's going to totally change as a whole, depending on if Luka's out, depending on if Harden's out. So I'll kind of give you my thoughts, what I'm liking as of Sunday night, assuming these guys play. But if they are ruled out, that will definitely change things. I'll be sure to touch on the guys that I would be interested in if Luka's out, if Harden's out. But yeah, we're going to go position by position, point guard through center. Talk about all the guys that really stand out to me looking at this slate on Sunday night, give you guys some early thoughts. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about every single player on the slate, just give you, the guys that really do catch my eye. So before we get started with the video, as always, I'd appreciate it if you would hit the like button down below. If you are new to the channel as well, be sure to click the subscribe button as well. I do upload a lot of NBA content to this channel. I get up videos basically every single day. I know I didn't get a video up for Sunday's slate, but basically for sure Monday through Friday I'll have videos up for NBA. I'm going to try and get more consistent uploads on the weekends as well. I'll still be making NFL content. We do have the playoffs coming up this weekend, so I'll have videos up for the playoff slates as well. So a lot of content coming on the channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. I do appreciate all of you that have subscribed to the channel. And lastly, if you do really enjoy my content, if it helps you out a lot, if you want to see more that I do have to offer, I have a Patreon link down below in the description. I do have a lot of additional content over on Patreon. You can get access to my player pool, my rankings, my positional breakdown, my updated core plays as well are posted on Patreon. And we do also have a Discord chat that you can join with about 200 people in it, talking DFS throughout the day for basically every sport. So if you want to check all that out, it is linked down below in the description. You can see all that I do have to offer over on Patreon. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off at point guard. At the top here, obviously Luka and James Harden are our top two options, and right now they are both questionable. So assuming both of them play, I don't know if they're going to be guys I really go out of my way to play on the slate. James Harden at 11,100, he's someone that you can play basically every slate. Obviously with, John Wall healthy, with Eric Gordon healthy, with DeMarcus Cousins healthy, Harden isn't going to be, the usage monster that he was like at the very beginning of the season when those guys were out, but still going to be a guy that plays big minutes, will have the ball in his hands a ton. He's going to give you 50, 55 DK points most nights. At 11,100 though, I'm obviously looking for more than that. I'm looking for 60 plus, close to 70. I think there's other guys that, I can get, just as much upside from. Luka, I like the matchup against Houston. It's definitely a good fast-paced game. I mean, this game should be high scoring. Obviously, if these guys play, then it's going to, the shootout potential would be a lot higher if both Harden and Luka play. But even if they don't, I think you'll still see a very high-scoring game here. I like the matchup for Luka. 10,300 is not that expensive of a price tag for him. He finally had a good game against Miami. I believe that was on Friday. That was his best game of the year. Nearly had a triple-double, was 3 assists shy of a triple-double. Had 58 Draftkings points, though, in 36 minutes against Miami, and he really didn't even shoot the ball that well in that game, just shot 40% from the field. Like, Luka's one of those guys, he doesn't have to score 40 points to really pay off his price tag because he can give you so much with the peripherals. He has triple-double upside. I think if he plays, he's interesting in tournaments, especially if we don't get news till later on in the day. Like, if we don't get word that Luka's playing till, maybe even after lock, I mean, he would become a really good tournament play because nobody's going to be on him, given that he's been listed as questionable all day. If we get news, early on in the day, maybe he'll get a little bit of ownership, but I don't see Luka really being that popular on this slate. So in tournaments, I think he makes some sense as a pay-up option at point guard. Steph Curry, though, I do have a lot of interest in at 9,300. He went absolutely nuclear on Sunday against the Warriors. The Blazers. This is a back-to-back for the Warriors, so, can we really take that into account? Is that going to affect Curry? I don't really think so. He's a younger guy. I don't think a back-to-back is really going to matter too much for him. I do like Curry here at 9,300. He's going to be someone I consistently roster this year, especially when he's under 10K. He's just going to be a guy that consistently gives you 50-plus DK points. In games that are competitive, you're going to get 35, 36 minutes from Steph Curry. This should be a game that's competitive against the Kings. Should be a fast-paced game as well. I'm pretty sure the Warriors are playing at the fastest pace in the league just so far this season in the short sample. So, should be a high-scoring game, should be fast-paced, should stay close. really that's all we want for Steph Curry because we know the usage, the opportunity is going to be there. We just want the game to stay close, and that should be the case here. So I like Steph Curry a lot at 9,300. I think him and Luka probably my two favorite guys to pay up for a point guard. I would have Curry ahead of Luka though, given the savings. I like Curry a lot at 9,300. But then scrolling down, like even on the other side of that game, I think De'Aaron Fox looks really good at 8,200. He's just been playing so well this year. Obviously, the floor on De'Aaron Fox is still somewhat low for 8,200. This is a guy that can definitely disappoint, but he does have 50-plus point upside. We haven't really gotten that big 50-point game from him yet, but he's got a 46-point game against Houston, 47 against Denver. Like I said, the Warriors playing at the fastest pace in the league, so really good fast-paced game here, which is something that should benefit De'Aaron Fox. He should thrive in a fast-paced game. Another guy that can just kind of stuff the stat sheet, can give you points, a little bit of rebounds, can obviously get assists. He definitely has double-double upside when it comes to points and assists. I do like De'Aaron Fox at 8,200 in that like 8K range. I think he's probably my favorite guy there, between like Fox, Lowry, Brogdon. I do like Brogdon against the Pelicans. Really good matchup for Brogdon as well. The Pelicans, they aren't playing at as fast of a pace this year as they did last year. So, the matchup, you would think it's a great spot against the Pelicans, but they're actually kind of playing at a slower pace this year. But still, they're allowing a lot of three-point attempts, I believe, which is something Brogdon, excels in. He's a really good three-point shooter. He's seeing increased usage, a little bit increased usage with TJ Warren out right now. We know he's going to play big minutes as well. I mean, he played over 40 minutes against the Knicks, and I believe that was in regulation. Like, you're going to get 36, 38 minutes from Brogdon if this game stays close. Him and Fox, I think, look pretty good in the 8K, 7K range. But I think my favorite guy here is John Wall. So John Wall is 7,600 on DraftKings, and if we look at Yahoo's pricing, he's very affordable over there, coming in at $34. He has the same price tag as Malcolm Brogdon, so if you want to go with Malcolm Brogdon, I don't see really anything wrong with that. I think Brogdon is a really good option. But if James Harden winds up out, I think I am going to prefer John Wall over Brogdon just straight up. If Harden plays, could you play Brogdon over Wall? You could, but we've seen so far this year, in the two games he's played, one of them was with Harden active. Wall can produce even with Harden on the floor. The first game that he played in this year was against the Kings, and Harden did play in that game. Wall played 37 minutes, had 45 DraftKings points, and then the next game they played against the Kings, Harden was out. I believe that was on Saturday, against the Kings, and he got 37 minutes again from John Wall, 50 DraftKings points in that game. So he's played two games this year, one with Harden, one without Harden. In the game with, he put up 45. In the game without, he put up 50 DK points. Played 37 minutes in both games. Like, John Wall looks legit this year. He doesn't look like he really tailed off at all. The injuries are what were always a concern for John Wall, but so far, it's only two games. Things could obviously, go downhill from here, but John Wall looks really good so far. He's been playing well. He's been scoring. He's been chipping in with he's chipping in with rebounds and assists. Can also give you some defensive stats as well. Like, at 7,600, Wall definitely has 45, 50-point upside. His upside, his overall floor would just increase even more if James Harden winds up out. So I really like John Wall, even if Harden plays, and if Harden's out, I'm going to like him even more. So I think he's probably my favorite guy in the 7K range, but there's plenty of guys you could look to here. We talked about, Brogdon you could look to. You could also go to De'Aaron Fox just a little bit more up there in the 8K range. Even like, Colin Sexton, I don't mind at 7,200. Darius Garland is questionable right now, so if Garland were to sit, I would like Sexton a little bit more. I think he's someone you could look to in the 7K range, but I'd probably have like Wall ahead of him. I'd have Brogdon ahead of him as well. But just scrolling down, looking for some other guys that I haven't mentioned yet. Elfrid Payton gets a really good matchup against the Hawks. He's 6K. Elfrid Payton is someone that has a really high ceiling. He also has a very low floor. Can be a guy that's kind of frustrating to roster because you'll roster him sometimes and you'll get those 20-point games where he only plays 22 minutes. Then sometimes you'll see those games where he plays 34, 35 minutes and he puts up a triple-double. Like, he's a guy that has 35, 40-point upside easily, if not 45-point upside. Great matchup against the Hawks. I'm going to be watching the status of, all their guards. Alec Burks questionable. I believe Emmanuel Quickley may be questionable. I can't exactly remember. I think Quickley did play last game. I think Quickley played last game, so Quickley is good to go. But we do need to watch the status of Alec Burks. That's really the big one. I think if Alec Burks plays, that's probably going to take me off of Elfrid Payton just because the minutes will become a lot more insecure. I wouldn't be, so sure that he got 30-plus minutes. But if Burks does remain out, I feel somewhat confident that you continue to get around 30 minutes from Elfrid Payton. And against the Hawks, really good matchup, pretty good game environment. He looks like a solid option in that 6K range. But in the 5K range, my favorite play here, I really like him today. LaMelo Ball, 5,600 on DraftKings. Also coming in at a pretty affordable price tag. Over on Yahoo, you got LaMelo coming in at $22 over on Yahoo. So LaMelo kind of got off to a slow start this year. You know, he wasn't getting a ton of minutes. He wasn't playing too well off the bench. But just the last 3 games, he just completely turned a corner. You've seen the minutes increase, 29, 27, and 31 minutes for LaMelo, while he's gotten 44, 31, and 37 DraftKings points. You know, this is a guy that I think is going to be very productive when he's on the floor. I expect him to be probably a fantasy point per minute player, if not better. He's going to be a guy that can just contribute with all categories. Like, he can get points, he can get rebounds, he can get assists. We saw last game he got 2 blocks, 4 steals, so he got 6 stocks last game. I think he is going to be a guy that can get those defensive stats. Like, he's just going to give you a little bit of everything. He's not that scoring dependent either, which is something, you know, that I like. You know, when it comes to these rookies, it's always scary to roster some of these rookies, especially the ones that are really scoring dependent. But a guy like LaMelo Ball, who isn't scoring dependent, a guy that can, you know, just contribute in all categories, I feel confident that he can put up 35, 40 DK points if they continue to give him the minutes. I really think that's what it comes down to. You know, are they going to play LaMelo 30 minutes off the bench consistently? If you tell me yes, then I'm going to definitely roster him at 5,600. I think the minutes could go down at any point. You know, if he's not playing well, we could see a scenario where he only plays like 20 minutes. But the fact that he's been playing so well recently, they've been running a lot of lineups with him alongside Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. I'm pretty sure they did play those guys alongside each other a little bit in their last game, which is very, you know, good to see. We want LaMelo playing alongside those guys because, you know, one of the reasons I think his minutes weren't going to be so high to start the year was because, you know, they're still trying to give minutes to Terry Rozier. They're still trying to give minutes to Devontae Graham. You obviously can't play all 3 of those guards, or at least they weren't at the beginning of the year, but, you know, lately they've been playing all 3 of those guys alongside each other. You know, LaMelo, although he is a point guard, like, he's a pretty big dude. I think he's like 6'6" or 6'7", kind of can, you know, play like small forward if they need him to, and he did play a little bit of small forward last game. So if we're going to continue to get like upper 20s, even low 30s in minutes from LaMelo off the bench, I think at 5,600, he can easily pay off this price tag. He's going to be a fantasy point per minute player this year. It's just a matter of how many minutes are the Hornets going to give him on a nightly basis. And with how well he's been playing, I have to assume they continue to give him the minutes. So I like him a lot at 5,600. I think we definitely want to get on him now before the price tag, you know, continues to rise. He's actually been pretty low owned on the last few slates, but I don't think that's going to be the case tonight. I think you are going to see LaMelo pick up a good amount of ownership, but even so, I still like him a lot because I just think he is underpriced if he's going to get the minutes. But really, I think that's probably it for point guard. Like, there's not much value here that stands out. Definitely keep an eye on the status of Derrick Rose. So it is a back-to-back for the Pistons, I believe. They did play on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Pistons did play on Sunday. Derrick Rose, I believe, has rested on back-to-backs so far this year. If he were to be out, that would give us some value in DeLon Wright, who's only 4K. I would like DeLon Wright quite a bit as a value play if Derrick Rose winds up out, but we don't really have that news yet, so I don't want to, you know, put anything that's not true into your guys' heads. Just keep an eye on the status of Rose because he could possibly sit, given that it is a back-to-back. If Darius Garland sits, he's questionable, then Dante Exum at 3,900 would become a solid value as well. But yeah, I think that's it for point guard. Did want to mention Jalen Brunson. So he went absolutely nuclear on Sunday, had a massive game, he did start in place of Luka on Sunday, and I think he played a ton of minutes. I can't exactly remember. Over 30 minutes, had like 40 DraftKings points. If Luka sits, if Luka's out again, Jalen Brunson, who is still only 3,300 on DraftKings, is going to be probably the best value play on the slate. Keep an eye on the status of Luka. If he's out, just play as much Jalen Brunson as you want. I had 100% Jalen Brunson on Sunday's slate once Luka got ruled out, and if he's out again, I'll probably have 100% Brunson again. So let's go ahead and move on to the shooting guard position. So at the top here, you know, not much really stands out at the top here besides the guys that I've kind of already talked about. Like Jaylen Brown, I don't mind. He's playing so well this year. 8,300 against Toronto doesn't feel like a spot where I really want to try and, you know, force Jaylen Brown into my lineups. But if he makes it into some of my lineups, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to feel bad about that because he's been playing so well this year. The usage is there right now with Kemba still out. I don't mind him at 8,300, but really no one stands out at the top of the shooting guard position as like, you know, must plays, core plays for me. I do want to talk about some of these guys in the mid-range. So first off, RJ Barrett, he's 6,700 on DraftKings, which I think is a little bit expensive. I don't think I'm going to be playing a ton of RJ Barrett on DraftKings at that price tag, but if we look at Yahoo's pricing, you got RJ Barrett coming in a very nice price on Yahoo. He's only $23. He's $1 less than Buddy Hield, $2 less than Andrew Wiggins, $3 less than Victor Oladipo. I think Oladipo looks good as well at $26, but I do really like RJ Barrett at $23. I just think he's underpriced on Yahoo. He's getting a ton of minutes right now. Without Alec Burks, they're running RJ Barrett into the ground. Thibodeau is playing this guy close to 40 minutes a night. You look at the minutes, 34, 37, 38, 38, 36, 42. He's going to play probably 36 plus minutes. Great matchup against the Hawks. He's looked a lot better this year. Still is not shooting the ball too well, but he's just playing so many minutes. It's really hard for him to fail when he's playing, about 40 minutes a night. And in a matchup against the Hawks, the opportunity, in terms of, shot attempts, there's going to be a ton of shot attempts in this game. Should be a fast-paced game. Right now it has a 222 total, which I believe is one of the higher totals on this slate, if I'm not mistaken. Just looking through, at least the games that we have totals now, it's the second highest, but we don't have the total on the Detroit game. Dallas, we don't have a total there, but second highest total on the slate right now, 222. Going to be a game worth targeting. I like some plays on both sides of this Knicks-Hawks game. Really good matchup for Barrett, getting a ton of minutes. At $23 on Yahoo, I think he looks like a very solid play in that mid-range. On DraftKings, not as interested at $6,700. I think that might be a little bit too much for me. Probably some other guys I'd rather go to in that price range. If Luka Doncic's out again, you could play Tim Hardaway. I had a lot of Tim Hardaway on Sunday slate, and it didn't really go well. Hardaway did not have that good of a game on Sunday, but I'd be fine going back to him, even if Luka's out again, even at $6K. I think Hardaway still has the upside to pay off that price tag when Luka is off the floor, because he does see increased usage with Luka off the floor. But then scrolling down, same can be said with Josh Richardson. If Luka is out again, I think Josh Richardson at $5,300 becomes a very viable option. Would be someone I would be looking to in that lower mid range. But in terms of value plays at shooting guard, if Derrick Rose rests on the back-to-back, then DeLon Wright we talked about, you could look to at 4K. But really, I don't see any great cheap options down here that stand out. So let's go ahead and move on to the small forward position. So talking about small forward, at the top here, again, I don't think there's really anything at the top that catches my eye as, must play. Like Jason Tatum, you can always play. Tougher matchup, though, against the Raptors. Same with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's been playing so well this year. You could definitely go to him, but I don't expect either one of those guys to be, a part of my core, to be, in a large amount of my lineups. So going down to the mid-range at small forward, Gordon Hayward, I think at $7,300 looks interesting. He's coming off a big game against the same Philly team. They did play a couple of days ago. Got 38 minutes from Gordon Hayward, 47 DraftKings points. His floor is still relatively low, but the ceiling is definitely there. He does have a lot of upside with this Hornets team just because he's going to be way more involved offensively. He's kind of like the first option on the team when it comes to scoring. He's been getting, a ton of rebounds, a ton of assists as well. He's one of those guys that can, give you a little bit of everything. He's kind of scoring dependent. You're going to need him to probably score 25, 30 points and plus get, some points in or get some rebounds and assists. But he's shown that he can do that with the Hornets. The minutes are going to be there. They're playing him a ton of minutes as long as the game stays close. So I like Gordon Hayward at $7,300 at small forward, in that mid-range. I think I'd prefer him, over Tobias Harris, over Oladipo. Probably would even prefer him over Jimmy Butler as well. But then scrolling down, if Evan Fournier is out again, we don't know the status of Evan Fournier. You could look to Terrence Ross, but his price did come up a good amount. He's $5,900, so he's not nearly as interesting at $5,900, but he would at least still be viable if Fournier is out again. If James Harden is out, then Eric Gordon you could look to at $5,700, but his price came up as well, so he's not as appealing at $5,700. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'd be a lot more interested. Josh Richardson will probably be my favorite small forward at $5,300 if Luka's out, but we'll have to just keep an eye on that. In terms of value plays, though, again, I'm not seeing a ton of great value at small forward. Really no punt options, at least right now, that stand out as of Sunday night when I'm making this video. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the power forward position and talk about power forward. So at the top here, I do really like some of the top options here. Giannis at $10,800 I think is a great spend-up option on this slate. We finally have seen Giannis, over their last two games, really look like his old self. 65 plus DraftKings points in 2 straight games. In only 28 minutes against the Bulls, he scored 65 DK points. This is a guy that just has so much upside, man. He doesn't have to play massive minutes to pay off his price tag. I know there's definitely some blowout concerns here, and while this game is very likely to blow out, I think even if it does, like you could see a scenario where Giannis plays, like he did against the Bulls. He could play 26, 28 minutes in a blowout and still score 60 DraftKings points, because if the Bucks do blow out the Pistons, it's very likely that Giannis is probably the reason why, and that Giannis is going off, which means, he's already paid off his price. So even with the blowout concerns, I still really like Giannis at 10,800. I think he's probably one of my favorite pay-up options above 10K. I would say, yeah, definitely above 10K between him, Luka, and Harden. Giannis is my favorite there. Like I said earlier, I do really like Curry at 9,300. You could take the savings there and play Curry, but especially if we get like a lot of value, I will be trying to pay up for Giannis for sure. Like if Luka's out and we get all that good Dallas value again, then I'll for sure be trying to pay up for Giannis if I can. Julius Randle, I do like a lot here against the Hawks. I think this is a great spot for Julius Randle at 9K. That is a hefty price tag to pay for Julius Randle, but this is a guy that just has so much upside, man. Like, he's another guy on this Knicks team just playing massive minutes. Thibodeau is running his starters into the ground. You're seeing Randle play 37, 38 minutes as well. Has so much upside against this Hawks team. Again, this should be a pretty fast-paced game. It should be close as well. I really like Julius Randle here. I think he's definitely one of my favorite power forwards overall. I'll for sure be looking at him on Yahoo. I love the Yahoo price. Over there, he's coming in at $38. $4 less than Tatum, or $4 less than Sabonis, $3 less than Tatum. Same price as Christian Wood. I think I do prefer Randle over all those guys. Really like him over on Yahoo at $38. I think he looks like a great player over there, and it's definitely someone I'm going to be targeting at that price point. And on DraftKings, he's kind of expensive, but I still really like the price tag on Julius Randle. I think he looks like a really good option on DraftKings as well. He's someone that I'm going to have just a lot of exposure to on both sides. For sure going to be one of my favorite targets overall on this slate. But scrolling down, looking for some other options. Like Zion feels a little bit too cheap. He's burned me lately, but $7,900. I do like Zion at that price point. Talked about Gordon Hayward, who I have interest in. I do like John Collins at $7,200. His price is kind of coming down a little bit. Pretty bad game last time out against Cleveland, but the minutes were there. Played 34 minutes. It seems like he's going to play 32, 34 minutes as long as the game stays close and as long as he's not in foul trouble. Really good matchup against the Knicks. I do like John Collins quite a bit at $7,200. He is for sure someone I have a lot of interest in, or I'm going to have a lot of interest in, in that 7K range. But scrolling down, looking for some other guys we could maybe go to. Not much stands out in the 6K range, at least not the guys, or not right now. Maybe something will open up here, but in the 5K range, I don't think there's really much stands out here either. Like Marvin Bagley feels too cheap for a good matchup against the Warriors, but he's just not getting a ton of minutes. He's only playing around 25, 26 minutes a night, even in the starting lineup. Even at $5,500, I don't know if I really want to go to Marvin Bagley at that price point just because the minutes really aren't there right now. He's just not... The upside's limited when you're only playing 25, 26 minutes. If Bagley was playing 32 minutes, then yeah, I would have a lot more interest. But if they're going to keep playing him 26, 27 minutes, it's really tough to trust Bagley even at 5,500. But really, I think that's kind of it for power forward. Like, there's no guys that stand out under 5K to me, at least not right now. DFS I think is fine to go to at 4,400, especially if if Luka winds up out, you could look there. I don't mind Daniel House at 4,200. If Harden's out, you could maybe go to him as a value. But yeah, I think that's probably it for power forward. So let's go ahead and move on to center, and we'll talk about the center position real quick before we do end the video. So at the top of the center position, you got Joel Embiid for 9,900. I like this matchup a lot for Joel Embiid against the Hornets. It was the same matchup that he had on Saturday. Embiid was one of my favorite plays on Saturday, and he didn't have the best game overall. He played 37 minutes, had 46 DraftKings points, but again, the matchup is so good, man. The Hornets are not going to be a good defensive team against bigs this year. They're probably not going to be a good defensive team overall. They were a team that I did target a lot last season with opposing big men, and I'm for sure going to be doing that again this year. Right now, I think I'd try and get up to Giannis if I can. I think I like the savings you get dropping down to Steph Curry. I do like Julius Randle as well at 9K, and I think Randle, especially at his DraftKings price, no one's really going to play Julius Randle at 9K, so I like getting him in tournaments. But Joel Embiid, great spot for him. I think I'd prefer him over Sabonis if I'm paying up at center. Probably would prefer him over Andre Drummond as well. Drummond was another guy that killed me on Saturday. He was in a pretty good spot against the Hawks, and I don't know what the hell happened, but he only played 20 minutes, only had 25 DraftKings points. The upside is still massive for Andre Drummond, especially with Kevin Love out. It seems like he's a lot risky though, a lot riskier than he should be. I don't know what's going on, but if Drummond, if he just stops playing, if he doesn't play well, they will bench him. They did it in that game. for him only playing 20 minutes. He always seems to be in foul trouble as well. It's not the best spot against Orlando, but Drummond should be very, very low owned on this slate. So in tournaments, as a guy that's going to be probably under 10% owned, maybe even under 5% owned, Drummond always has 50, 60 point upside. I wouldn't mind going to him in GPPs as just a low owned play, but straight up, I'd prefer to get up to Embiid if I can, Giannis as well. But scrolling down in the mid range, like in the 7K range, if Harden is out again, I think Christian Wood at 7,400 looks like a really good option. Even if Harden plays, Christian Wood has shown that he can still produce alongside Harden. Even with DeMarcus Cousins, healthy now, that really hasn't affected Christian Wood too much. He's not going to play, 37, 38 minutes with Cousins active, but he'll still get 32, 34 minutes. He's a great productive player when he's on the floor. I mean, this dude just has so much freaking upside, man. A guy that can consistently give you 40, 50 DraftKings points. At 7,400, that is still way too cheap for Christian Wood. I like him a lot, and I'm going to like him even more if Harden's out. So definitely will be looking to Christian Wood. I think he looks really good at 7,400. But scrolling down, I do want to talk about Clint Capella. So I think Clint Capella is probably one of the more underpriced guys on this slate. 6,100 on DraftKings. Also coming in very underpriced on Yahoo, $22 over there. So I really like Clint Capella, man. His minutes have started to trend up, which is something that, I love to see. 30 minutes, 31 minutes his last two games after playing 20 minutes in both their first two games. It seemed like he was on somewhat of a limit to start the season, but now that minutes limit's kind of gone. He's played 30 minutes in 2 straight games, been productive as well with 35 and 46 DraftKings points. We just need Capella to play the minutes. Like, this is a guy, you look at when he was with the Rockets, last year and the year after that. Like, the guy's a great fantasy producer. He's a fantasy point per minute player. It's just a matter of how many minutes was he going to play on this Hawks team. He's getting the minutes right now. If they're going to play him over 30 minutes, he's going to be a guy that we definitely want to roster while he's 6,100, because if he's playing 30 minutes, he's going to consistently give you 35 to 40 DraftKings points. He's basically a lock for a double-double. He can get, blocks as well. He can get some assists. He got 6 assists in that Brooklyn game against the Knicks. Great matchup. Give me all the Clint Capella today at 6,100. Still underpriced after he was 5,200 on the last slate. He was way too cheap on Saturday, and he's still way too cheap on Monday's slate at 6,100. So really do like Clint Capella in the mid-range at center. I think he looks like one of the best options overall in that price range, and really just on this slate as a whole. Capella looks really good. And then the last guy I want to talk about is Richaun Holmes. So Richaun Holmes has consistently been getting 30-plus minutes, 32 minutes in 3 straight games, or 32-plus minutes in 3 straight games, which is what I really want to see. 36, 48, 26 DraftKings points. This is a guy that, is very productive when he gets minutes. I was a little bit skeptical about his minutes this season, especially when the Kings signed Hassan Whiteside. I was just not sure if, Holmes was going to be a guy that was going to play 34, 35 minutes with Whiteside backing him up, but it seems like right now they're going to give about 30 minutes to Holmes and like 18 to Hassan Whiteside. And if that's going to be the case, if we're going to get 30-plus minutes from Richaun Holmes at 5,600, this is a guy that can easily give you 35 DraftKings points in 30 minutes, especially in a really good matchup against a fast-paced Warriors team. I think Holmes is still too cheap on DraftKings at 5,600. I don't see him being too popular on this slate either. I think he is going to be pretty low-owned, probably under 10, 15%, if not lower than that. I really like Richaun Holmes at 5,600. Both him and Clint Capella look like 2 very strong center plays in that mid-range on DK. But, yeah, I think that's really it for center. I think we kind of covered everything. There's really not much value here. I guess Tristan Thompson's not the worst value play. He's 4,400. Probably going to start and play about 26, 28 minutes, although this is a back-to-back for the Celtics, and I believe Thompson did rest on their last back-to-back, so that is something worth noting. Assuming that Thompson plays, though, he's going to start, play about 28 minutes. He'll probably give you 25, 28 DraftKings points at 4,400. He's a solid value, not the worst cheap option to go to. But yeah, I think that's probably it for center for me, guys. I think we covered everything for Monday's 9-game slate. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I do greatly appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You'll never miss out on any of my new videos. And if you do really enjoy my videos, if they help you out a lot, you want to get more content from me, you want to see more that I do have to offer, be sure to check out my Patreon link down below in the description. I do have a lot of additional content over on Patreon. If that is something that does interest you, be sure to check that out, link down below. But yeah, best of luck on this slate, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.